All right, my renowned fam, welcome back. I am your amazing host, Stephen Morris, and this is the Renowned Leadership Podcast. I'm so glad to have you all here today. I got a great guest lined up for y'all today. Before we get into that, though, I want to take a minute to take you on a little ride with me because Renowned is going through a major overhaul right now. We're still focusing real heavy on leadership and professional development. However, we're also branching off some and really focusing in and diving in on the personal development side. And we really want to help our clients identify their purpose so that they can live a more fulfilled and just joyful life. I've learned from my own experience whenever I was leaving the Army. Took me 3.5 years of, battling depression and anxiety and everything. And I realize now, looking back, that it was because I totally lost my sense of purpose. And it took me 3.5 years to get it back and get back to where I should be. So I don't want you guys to go through that. I don't want my clients to go through that. So that's why we're kind of branching off, and we're doing this as well. We're focusing real heavy on goal setting. We got some amazing systems. We have a brand new renowned coaching system that gives you real-time analytics that we can see and manipulate so that you can ensure that you're getting the best coaching experience possible. I would love to let you tour the system and mess with it and just see what all it can do for you. So head over to renownedleadership.com and click the book a call button. It's in the top right-hand corner of the screen. You get to come talk to me for free. You get to check out the new system and see what all it can do, see how powerful it truly is. And we'll go from there. So I don't want to spoil today's episode with too much of an intro. This dude pretty much speaks for himself, so you just got to listen. His name's Daniel Gomez. He's the founder and CEO of Daniel Gomez Global and Sticker Shock Academy, which is a public speaking academy where they help you start your public speaking business. It's pretty incredible. But on today's episode, we're going to cover everything. We're going to cover personal values, the personal life. We're going to cover business, entrepreneurship, public speaking, your faith. We literally cover every single topic. Daniel is incredibly transparent and open with us. And he talks about his emotion and the importance of not keeping your emotions bottled up. It's truly an incredible conversation. I know you guys are going to get a lot out of it. I know you guys are going to love it. So I'm just going to leave it at that, and we're going to jump right into today's episode. So here we go. All right, my man Daniel, the business coach, is with us today, and I'm super, super excited because he's got some topics that are just mind-blowing, and I can't wait to dig into them. But my first question, Daniel, is in the background, you got a WWE style poster of yourself. Like, have you ever thought about doing professional wrestling? Because that looks like freaking John Cena behind you. That's pretty cool, dude.
Boom, baby, let's go. Hey, Steven, man, thank you for having me on the Renowned Leadership, man. I'm pumped up. I'm ready, brother. And you know what? My dad used to take me to go see Bruiser Brody when I was a kid. So I remember going and seeing Bruiser Brody, Kamala, all these Von Erichs, man. And I was a big wrestling fan for it. So for you to say that, it resonates with me. And I always thought, how cool would it be just to be famous like one of the Von Erichs or like Bruiser Brody? Bruiser Brody was my favorite. So I think when we had this mocked up, I was like, that's it, right? Because it just has that power pose and you just got to dominate, man. So I think inside myself, I'm a wrestler.
I love it, brother. I love it so much. And as soon as we got on the call, that was my eye instantly went to that. And so I'm sure people watching this video, they're going to see that. And that's the first thing they're going to see is that macho WWE, like you said, power pose. Just, I love it, man. I need to have one made for myself. That's so cool. So let's talk about the power of the power pose, because this is a relatively new concept for me. I had a guest, I want to say a month or two ago, brought up, like that's part of the way, like before they get on, because they go on stage in front of thousands of people, and before they do, they do a power pose. So is that something you practiced, or is that something you just did for the picture?
It's all psychological. It's all body language, right? 93% of communication is nonverbal, 7% is verbal. And it's really how you carry yourself is how people see you. So definitely prior to when we rebranded everything that we just went under this rebranding that we did, I would always wear a suit and it worked great for the first 4 years that we were in business. And I just said to myself, right, we came out with our Millionaire Mind boot camp and the branding and our book just took off. So I said, man, I gotta lose the suit because I'm not reaching the younger generation, the millennials, the Gen X's. So when we're doing about how am I going to post? What am I going to do? So right, that confidence, you need to give people confidence. And if they see confidence in you, they feed off of that. So whether it's the power pose with your arms crossed or putting your hands on your hips, it's all verbal communication saying, man, this guy has something that I don't have. And the
Right.
thing is this, Stephen, to answer your question too, is that's the way I am all the time, right? I'm not arrogant, but I'm confident. And I'm gonna add value right off the front. The problem is this is so many people, right? Arrogance is me wanting to Stephen for him to know that I have the abilities to do it, right? I'm arrogant. That's my ego. Confidence is me knowing that I can do it and just keeping it to myself. And
Mm.
many people, they get those two mixed up because they think that arrogance is confidence. No, confidence is I know my abilities. But if I purposely say, well, Stephen, and I push that on you, well, then that's arrogance because I want you to know what my abilities are. And my pose there is just to give people the confidence to know that, guess what? Have confidence in what I'm trying to help you with because I've been there, I've done that, and I can take you there too.
I love that, and it's funny because I actually I have a similar breakdown of, but I do it a little bit different in that. So for me, the difference is being cocky and having arrogance. And I've always said that being cocky is having that presence of I'm just amazing and I'm good at this, which you may be, but you've not earned it. You haven't earned it yet, right? So you're the millionaire mindset brand. So obviously you've been in the trenches. You've earned that arrogance. And then pretty much my definition of arrogance is what you just said of I present myself in a way that shows people that without me having to say anything, I'm here and I know what I'm talking about. You want to listen to me because I'm here to help you. And so that and the cockiness is just boisterous and yeah, look at me, look at how strong I am, rather than what have you done, man? Prove it, right? You're all talk.
Yes.
Let's see you prove it now. And so coming up through the military, that was me, man. I was so cocky. I was so cocky, and everybody, all my leaders like, we'll see whenever the bullets start flying how you react, and I'll tell you how I reacted. I stood there staring at the guy shooting at me and did absolutely nothing. I just stood there,
Wow.
and thank God I had a great sergeant who snatched me up and got me behind cover because I was about to get shot.
Well, you know what? I love how we're opening up this amazing episode because right. So I'm an award-winning business coach, and one thing I understand is I understand body language. I know how to read people. So when we're there, there's been very many successful people that I've coached along the way that had a false self-confidence, insecure leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Insecure leaders, and you can see them because one big thing that I take note every time I go into a boardroom or every time I go into a meeting or just in conversation where it's someone new or we're going in to do an assessment and really analyze an organization is the loudest person, the first one that always wants to speak, hey, they're always the most insecure.
Yeah,
And they come out with this false self-confidence. I call it like the clownfish effect, right? They blow up their chest like a clownfish because they want to be seen, but that's because they're the most insecure. And they're, like you said, they're cocky. It's a bunch of hot air. And maybe they've had some success, but the thing is this is that you can't run an organization. You can't even run your family with that false self-confidence because it's a sign of an insecure leader. And when you're insecure, you micromanage your kids, you micromanage your wife,
Mm-hmm.
you micromanage your husband, and worse, if you when your business, you micromanage your employees and everybody that you're supposed to be delegating and letting them take control of the situation.
Yeah, that's brilliant. With working with my clients, that's a lot I see as well is they don't have the confidence in their people, so they feel that they have to micromanage. And one of the ways I approach that is, coaching them in the way like you need to become the leader that they follow, not the leader that just I do what he tells me to do. Right. And I know you know who John Maxwell is. So I'm not even going to ask. But, it's like John Maxwell breaks it down. He has those 5 tiers of leadership. The first one being the leadership from the position of the power or the position of authority. So you are a leader, but it's because of your position, right? And that's the worst place you can be. It's fine to be there for now, but within 6 months, you have to work your way out of that. And like you said, if you're insecure in your abilities, then that's going to be where you live. And no successful leader, no George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, none of these, Nelson Mandela, none of these leaders could lack that confidence in this is what I'm doing because this is what I believe in. And so a lot of times when I'm working, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. This is supposed to be you talking, but a lot of times when I'm working with my clients, it's if you don't truly believe in your path and what you're working on, you're never going to have that mentality of this is what I'm doing, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm passionate about. Until you find that, you're just going to flounder along, grasping at handouts, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I teach leadership too. So we train. My big breakthrough came when I trained in the United States Air Force. I was pretty much unknown in 2018, and God opened up the opportunity for me when I trained at NCO Academy, and that's where we just exploded. And I never looked back after that. And one thing that I see in people and individuals in leadership that are building teams or trying to build teams that are amazing, that really win and bigger in business, is that you have to allow yourself to show your emotions. So many, I feel, right? Our armed forces, our first responders, I feel for them because cops ain't allowed to show their emotions. They got to be tough. You being ex-military, you understand. And just after I spoke, seeing like you could tell that they were fighting back their emotions, those tears that wanted to come out. And there was two or three that really just kind of cried. And it was amazing because they're not allowed to show their emotions. And that's one of the worst things health-wise that we can do, because when you suppress your emotions as a leader, what happens is that's where arthritis comes from. That's where anger comes from. That's where all these different diabetes come from, because our bodies are not created to harbor all these emotions and feelings and suppress them. And then you serve 1 round, 4 rounds, right? The next thing you know, you're retiring 20 years later. So a lot of times you have over 20 years of emotions you haven't been allowed to release. And I tell you this from experience, because I just was one of my coaching clients. He just retired last month from the Air Force, 20 plus years of service. And man, he had a lot. This is the thing that what we don't see. We think we just have a little bit of emotion suppressed, but in reality, you have a compound effect, because you're backlogged 5 years, you're backlogged 10 years, you're backlogged. So you have a backlog to say of 20 years of emotions that you haven't allowed to release. And man, that's why they're ready to explode by the time they come out. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of the military and armed forces get divorced, because they never deal with, they're never allowed to have feelings, man. And you need to. That's the way God created us.
That's you hit the nail on the head, and I'm a product of that. I was in the Army for 16 years. Ultimately, after I got out of the Army, um, that's when the problems started. That's when the divorce came, because we just couldn't function together with me being home all the time. For the 16 years, I was gone probably 85% of the time. I was never around. And so all of a sudden, like, and then I think I was pretty decent with No, I had great mentors that taught me, you know, the importance of releasing emotions privately, and not, obviously, like you said, you have to maintain your emotions, especially in stressful situations. You can't break. And then when you're leading troops, you got to stay strong for them to allow, to facilitate the environment into which you can keep operating, because the bad guys don't stop just because you lost a friend, a brother, and a colleague. That's just going to make the bad guys keep coming even harder. So you have to maintain your emotions, you have to maintain your strength, and that is a really hard thing to learn. But the hardest thing was once I got out, once I retired, um, learning to not do it anymore.
Yeah,
And
because you bring that. That's a mistake I did. So 2017, my life turned around. You know, had money in the bank. Our house was paid off, doing very well. And I was in the automotive industry for almost 20 years, right? I ran a Chevrolet dealership. I still wear my Chevy ring because it's a conversation piece. But just that, I worked my way up to running, having 100 employees. I was so great at winning and being the best that the mistake I did is I would bring that home. And instead of running my family like a family, I was running my family like a business. And my dad, I mean, my children were like, just dad, I just want a dad sometimes. But I was meaning to do that, but I couldn't turn it off sometimes. And then my wife, I would suppress her because right, I'm a driver personality. She's amiable. And if you don't understand personalities, ladies and gentlemen, I highly recommend you take a training in that, because it's going to give you a lot of insight into your children, your wife, and your husband, and the people that you serve. And I didn't realize the damage I was causing to my wife. So in 2017, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, had a double mastectomy, and I had to make a decision. Was I going to be the leader of my family and resign and take care of my wife, or was I going to hire somebody? And I ended up leaving automotive with the intentions of going back someday in a year or so. And God said, no, man, I got different plans for you. And the idea came, it was like, I had this email because with Chevrolet, we'd go give out these awards. And the principal goes, hey, you want to go say some words? I'm like, man, I ain't going to say nothing. I just came to take a picture and cheese. I would just give back to the community. So I sat down and I just felt like a prompting in my heart to say, Daniel, you talked about attitude at your sales meeting. Because even though I ran the dealership, I love to train. I love to pour into people. I love to pour into my staff. So I told the principal, you know what? I can definitely talk about attitude for 20 minutes or 10 minutes. She goes, oh, you know what? I can speak for 10 minutes. She goes, great. 35 minutes later, I had 300 kids yelling and screaming, I'm a winner. I'm a champion. I love myself. I get this email 3 weeks later from the counselor, from one of the parents. Who is this car guy? I want to know who he is. I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? Tell him I said thank you. Tell him I said thank you. EJ's running around the house, yelling and screaming, I'm a winner. I'm a champion. I love myself. He puts on the Chevrolet cap. He looks in the mirror and he tells himself, I love you, EJ. And man, he's never been more confident. Tell him I said thank you. 5 years later, after I did that speech, I find this email because I printed it out. It impacted me so much. It was in my tie rack. The day I decided to go looking for a job, I read this email and I cried. God says, that's what you're going to do. You're going to go speak to the world. And people laughed at me. People, they support you, right? Daniel's crazy, but we'll make them feel good. We'll give them a attaboy. Going on 6 years later, I'm the one laughing all the way to the bank because I've impacted thousands around the world. And it's not about the money. It's about helping people see their true value, what they're capable of. I've shared the stage with John Maxwell. I've shared the stage with Les Brown, Tom Bilyeu, some prominent speakers all over the world, spoke in Asia, spoken in England and Europe. And we have our own speaking academy right here, which you see, Sticker Shock Speaking Academy. And from that speaking, we just blew up. We did our first book, You Were Born to Fly, which is right here. We had this made, and this was our first book that came out. And I didn't want to write another book ever after that. And then people started asking me for advice. Well, how did you write the book? Because they were like, wow, because they knew me from before. But it just comes to show, by the grace of God, you put your heart and mind something to it, with his help, you can do it. Now we do book publishing. We publish authors all over the world. We do podcast launching. But it's really, I had to lead myself, Stephen, and I had to get out of my own way And when this happened to my wife, I had to lead my family first of all. And it was hard, man. Everybody sees where I'm at, but they don't see when I looked in the mirror that one day, I had a lot of regret. I had a lot of shame. I had a lot of guilt. And like you said, now I can lead men and women through this because I've dealt with it myself. And so many leaders out there in different industries, organizations, they've never really forgiven themselves. So they carry this shame, they carry this guilt, they carry resentment, they carry unforgiveness, and you're filled up with all that junk inside of you. So how can anything good be put in there until you open the lid and let that out? But I didn't realize how unhappy I was. I thought I was. I mean, I was okay. But man, once I started doing the work, I'm like, man, Daniel you got some issues. You need some help. And I just went to work on myself in 2017, never looked back. And now we're here inspiring soon to be millions all over the world, man. And I'm here on your amazing show. And it just comes to show that you have to lead yourself first. And because you just never know what's possible. And somebody might laugh at your dreams, right? People laughed at me, but they're gonna laugh at you before they applaud you. And man, with God, all things are possible, bro.
Absolutely. And so you're correct me if I'm wrong. Your newest book is Becoming a Millionaire God's Way.
Yeah, it's called it's right here. It's The Makings of a Millionaire Mind. The book became so successful. We sell 3 books a day. We just launched it on Audible about 3 weeks ago, doing tremendous on Audible. So it's on Audible now. And then the book became an online program. The online program became a live event. We have a live boot camp, a 2-day boot camp where we just had our last one, May 26th and 27th of this year, and it was just phenomenal. We had 55 people from all over the country and came to San Antonio, and massive breakthroughs. And never did I imagine that the book was going to do that. The ironic thing was this: I almost didn't write the book because I felt like, who am I to write a book on the millionaire mind? Because I didn't want to deal with the pushback and the judgment of people, but God said, do it. Because like you said, the whole book is this, right? To give people the right approach, the right heart, the right attitude in becoming a millionaire God's way. So you don't self-implode, ladies and gentlemen, so you don't self-destruct. Because we all know the people, Stephen, right, that have overnight success like it's supposed to be, right? A year, 2 years, wow, how did they get there? And then a year later, you're like, what happened to so-and-so? Where'd they go?
Right.
Because they self-destructed. And they couldn't handle the success because they didn't do the work they needed to inside.
That's such a great point because one of my all-time favorite people is Robin Williams. That dude could make me laugh. I loved his movies. Mrs. Doubtfire, man. You can't go wrong with Mrs. Doubtfire. It's just so funny. His voice is his presence. Like the dude walks into a room, and I've actually met him. The dude walks into a room, and you just love him. He's just one of those people.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart when he took his own life. And that's a true testament to what you just said, right? Like he had all the quote unquote success. He had the millions of dollars. He had all the amazing things that we're supposed to achieve in life. But I'm sure you've heard the term the great lie. Each generation has a great lie that was told to the public. Back in the 90s, it was Bill Clinton, so on and so forth. But, I think success is my generation's great lie, because we're told that success is the Kardashians. Now, I'm not hating on the Kardashians. And my audience is probably super tired of hearing this because I talk about it all the time. But, the Kardashians are brilliant business people. Like they monetize their entire life. Yes, I know. I've already said all this, but different guests. So he's never heard me say this. So chill out, people. Anyway, um, but that we have a false sense of what success is, right? And success is different to every single person based on one, their mindset, two, their beliefs, three, their morality. So what is Daniel's success? What does success mean to Daniel?
Well, it's easy. It's our 6 pillars that we teach on, right? There's success definitely includes wealth, but in wealth, you have the finance part of it, which is the money. You have the business aspect if you're in business. You have the other pillar of relationships, right? You have success in your marriage and with your children. And do you have success in your health? I mean, I'm going to be 50 this year, man, and I can take on some 25 years old because I've invested in my health. And I remember not doing that for a couple of years back. And then your intellectual, right? What's your intellectual wealth? Are you using what you've had? And that's another huge one. And then the last one is your spiritual wealth is the biggest one. So you got business, you got financial, you have your spiritual, you have your relational, you have your intellectual, and then you have your health one. And if you're not taking care of those 6 pillars of your wealth, and because you can be rich, right? You can have a 7-figure business, but you can have a 5-figure marriage, and it's not going to
Mm-hmm.
sustain. You can have an 8-figure business, but if you have a 5-figure marriage, it's not going to work. You can have an 8-figure business and have a 5-figure relationship with your kids. It's not going to work. Or you can have you could be making 9 figures, but if you have a 2-figure health, what good does it do? You're gonna end up dead before you know it, because it's costing your success is costing you your health. And the thing is, you got to have a 7-8-figure business, have a 7-8-figure life, 7-8-figure marriage, 7-8-figure health, and 7-8-figure relationships. That's success. And most people, they buy into the world's viewpoint of what success is. And definitely, I mean, believe me, I love there's nothing wrong with having nice things. I mean, I love the cars, I love the house, and people say, Daniel, why are you showing off? I'm not showing off. I'm just showing people, I'm inspiring people to show them what's possible, that they can have the life that I had. Because I don't have a college education. I don't have a formal PhD. I don't have an MBA. I have an MBA massive bank account, but I don't have an MBA from the degree, right? I have an MBA. Boom, baby. Come on. I have a massive bank account, but get this. The reason I post some of these things on Facebook, LinkedIn, I have one of my biggest followings on LinkedIn, is because there's so many fakes out there that I know, because I speak all over the world. I see some of them, they speak on success, and then you see where they live. Like, man, why are you telling people that they could be a millionaire and you live with your mom, bro? Come on, man. Or why are you saying people you can have a Lamborghini and you're driving a freaking used clunker? Come on. So I mean, everything you see on IG, ladies and gentlemen, that crap isn't all real. Everything you see on social media is not all real. And
Most of
I
it.
post stuff. Hey, this is my backyard. These are my stinky feet on this picture. I'm chilling out, celebrating a good month. Like, this is my pool, because this is what God's given me, right? The testimony is not for me. It's God's gets the glory for that. But it's showing people that when you do things right, when you're a person of integrity, it all lines up, because there's so many phonies out there, men and women, that are trying to have you have a perception that they're successful and they're not. And then you try to be like them. And then next thing you know, unfortunately, you find yourself down the wrong path, and you're struggling in life, you're struggling in business, because you want to believe somebody. But like you said, people try to show you something. When we started, right? People try to teach you how to be a soldier. But if you've never been, in war, then you ain't no soldier. Basic training doesn't count you as war. Come on. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I've cried. I know what it's like to have 100 employees. I know what it's like to start a business from scratch. I can take you there, but you can't read a book. Most college professors, most college professors that teach business, over 90% of them don't even have a business themselves that's produced over 100,000. So how in the heck can they produce a entrepreneur or successful business? And I challenge them. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you go to, you can read the Harvard, you can read this, but at the point of attack, when it's time to quit or to keep going, when it's nothing but grit and nothing but corazon, like I said, right? Because I'm Mexican American. When it's corazon, when it's time when you either quit or you give up, most college professors that teach business give up because they've never been there before. And most people, not just college professors. I'm not just knocking on college professors, but I'm just speaking the truth.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's one of the things that really annoys me And don't get me wrong, and I'm sure Daniel's the same way. Like we're not hating on professors, on education, especially like I would never hate on education. I believe in education every day of my life. I try to learn at least one new thing, no matter how stupid it is. I'm constantly trying to learn and improve myself. I read, I watch lectures. Um, any knowledge I can gain. I talk to people like Daniel to teach me, right? Like, and I had a podcast guest not too long ago. Like, man, you were so humble. And it's like, well, yeah, you've made probably about $20 more million than I have. So obviously, there's about 20 million or more things you can teach me that I don't know. So yeah, of course I'm going to be humble because I want to learn from you because I want to get to where you're at. Anyway, so like I'm not hating on it, but absolutely one of my biggest problems with the mental health industry is, anytime we'd be in combat or something and we would kill somebody or somebody on our team would get killed, we'd have to come back and we'd have to talk to the counselors. The problem with the counselors is they've never been in that environment. They've never had to take someone's life or they've never watched somebody lose their life. And how can you counsel me on something you have no idea how bad it hurts? Right? That's like you
Yeah.
trying to coach me on getting shot. Like, have you ever been shot? I don't know. Maybe you have, but I'm going to assume you haven't. I have. I've been shot 3 times. It hurts. Like, you can't coach me on that. Right? Like,
Actually,
you
I
have,
could.
like I said, like, I don't know. Maybe you have. I don't know your
It burns,
background.
let me tell you.
Oh man, it sucks. Yeah, when people ask, they're like, "What does it feel like?" I'm like, all I remember is how bad it burnt.
Yep, it
Um,
burns.
so anyway, but that's the thing. Like, you have to have the experience. So if you have someone in your life that has the experience, best advice in the world I can give you: shut up. Just shut up and listen to them. Take notes, ask questions, and then shut up. And just let them pour into you, because to me that's the definition of success, is how much do I have to pour into the people that look up to me. First of all, are people looking up to me? Am I making an impact? And I don't care what my bank account looks like. If I die and people are like, man, I'll never forget this man because he did this for me, and I'm going to teach my kids this lesson, and their kids teach their kids that lesson, and so on and so forth. That is an eternal legacy. That's how you become immortal,
Yeah,
right?
but
Because
I'm gonna challenge your thought process on that one
okay,
though, because money is important, right? I mean,
it
what you
is.
because that's what you said subconsciously. You're saying money's not important, and that's what keeps people from really succeeding in business. Because at the end of the day, there's only certain things that money can do, right? Money is needed to do certain things in business. You need to pay your
Mhm.
employees. You need to pay for your overhead. You need to pay, there's cost involved in business. So what young entrepreneurs and small businesses that, right? Thousands of businesses start every single year. Within 5 years, they're gone. Why? Because of that exact mindset of what you just said. Well, money's not important. Well, then why are you in business? Right? You do want to take care of your customers. You do want to take care of people. I understand the people aspect, but when you say that, you're repelling the blessings that God wants to give you. Because the truth is this, is that we can't go to the bank and say, well, you know what? I want to pay my car today with love, Stephen. Or I'm going to call my mortgage, hey, Chase, I love you, man. But you know what? I don't got no money, but I'm going to pay in kindness today. Okay. So I'm going to deposit $3,000 in kindness. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. I appreciate it. They're going to laugh at you. So there's certain things that only money can do. And we
Mhm.
have to understand that. And there's nothing wrong with having a wealthy bank account, but you need to have the balance all the way around. So when people say money's not important, they're self-sabotaging themselves, because this is what happens. A prospect, what does a prospect turn into after a while?
So, like, a prospect isn't a client.
A prospect is a potential client. A
Mhm.
prospect becomes a client. The client then becomes a paying client. What does that paying client turn into? It turns into revenue. What is revenue? Revenue is money. So subconsciously, when you say money's not important, the very business you need, you're pushing away all the prospects. You're pushing away all the potential customers that want to do business with you. You don't see it because you have the wrong belief system. You have the wrong energy. And subconsciously, all the business that you need and you want, that you're praying for, well, you're saying money's not important. So you're self-sabotaging it because you're deflecting it away and you're not even aware of it. I've seen it over and over again.
I love that. So
I
I,
teach this in depth. I mean,
yeah, definitely. I appreciate that feedback. And so basically what I just heard is I need to reword and rethink how I say that, because I am not anti-money. I just don't define myself based on my money. I am all about nice things. Just like you said, I'm all like, whatever I can afford, great. Um, However, that's not the defining characteristic. And so maybe I need to rework that so it's I'm not playing it as it's an insequential, not insequential. What's the word? Uh, it's a non-important factor of business, because obviously it is, because I have to pay the bills. I have to, pay myself. I have to provide for my family. So,
yeah,
I mean,
think about this. Think about in 2020. I don't mean, but I wanted to add value to your audience because it breaks my heart because so many businesses go out of business because they don't know how to think, man. Change your mindset, change your business. Change your mindset, change your life. And the thing is this is that when you realize that there's nothing wrong with having that revenue stream, there's nothing wrong with money, right? Because money is energy. So if money is the energy coming towards you and you have this wrong energy going out and they're colliding, then you're keeping yourself from having the revenue that you need. And you know what the true meaning of success is to me? Why is money important? Because the money allows you to help the homeless and the needy, man. Money allows you, ladies and gentlemen, to help the widows. The Bible says take care of the widows. You know how many people we get to bless. You know, the biggest thing is I started something new because I went to this game last week. I flew up to Tampa Bay with a client of mine, Orlando, and Stephen, and met this gentleman named Orlando. We had VIP tickets there at home plate. Never been to a Major League Baseball game myself. This guy was just so charismatic, so outgoing, man. He was tipping everybody 20s, and I'm looking at this guy like, is this the guy the real deal? I'm like, wow. So I told my client, I said, hey, you want to go get something for your kids? He's like, yeah. He goes, nah, you know what? Don't worry about it. I don't want to go all the way across the stadium. Orlando heard us and said, hey, there's one right here. I'll go with y'all. So we're there. And Orlando's there, like just kind of walking us to the gift shop. We get there, and my friend goes, hey, man, you want something? What do you want? I go, nah, I don't want nothing. I go, you know what? Just give me a baseball. He goes, what's your first game? Get a shirt. I said, no, I'm good. Orlando, this gentleman, we don't even know him. We met him there. He's sitting next to us in the same section. He goes, hey, Daniel, come check out this shirt. I'm like, oh, it's nice. He goes, you like it? I said, nah, I wouldn't wear it. He goes, what about this one? I said, no, get it if you want it. I said, it's a jersey. He goes, do you like it? I said, yeah, it's cool. Take it. My friend heard him and said, no, he's my, right? He didn't say it out loud, but he thought it. No, Daniel's with me, right? I'll get him. I want to get him the jersey. Orlando walked up and said, you're not going to steal my blessing. I'm going to get your kid stuffed animals too. This guy, like, didn't even know who we were. Spent like over $200 on us. I'm like, man, we're walking back. I said, hey, can I ask you a question? Do you do this all the time? He goes, man, if I have the money, I'm going to bless people. You know why? Because I'm going to get mine. It comes back to me even more, man. Why wouldn't I bless you if I know it's going to be reciprocated? Because you reap what you sow. So we get back, we stop to get an eat, right? Because it's all you can eat, all you can drink there in this VIP home plate area. Again, he's tipping everybody. I'm like, man, we leave the game. I'm just so impacted by this. And I told my client, I said, you know what, brother? I said, this guy left an impression on me. I said, I think I need to start doing this, right? I think I really feel like, man, I carry cash on my hand and I'll give people money once in a while, right? When God prompts my heart. But this guy intentionally, every game he goes to, he gives out 20s every day. And I'm like, wow. So you know what? I can't do hundreds yet, maybe, but I know I can do 20s every day. And man, I did it this week. The fact that this older ladies, 2 70-year-old ladies were coming in. I went and cashed a check at our bank. I'm holding the door. I'm in Daniel mode, right? I think me and you are the same way, Steven, right? Come on, let's get done, be the best. Let's go. I got to hurry up. I'm pressed for time. I'm at the door. I see these ladies like 15 feet away, 70 years old. Hold the door, Daniel. Slow down. Hey, beautiful young ladies, how you doing? Hurry up. All these young gentlemen are going to want to get your number and take you out to lunch. So they're walking in, they're laughing. Haha, I'm leaving. I get prompted. You're missing your blessing. Buy them lunch. I said, hey, man, real quick, let me give you $20. No, you can't do that, young man. I said, ma'am, don't worry. Somebody's going to, I wanted to be the first handsome young man to take you out to lunch. They're both 70 years old. I just left. She was so like the look on her face was just like, wow. But it took money to bless them with that. And now moving forward, I'm going to be intentional in giving everybody, my goal is to give 120 out a day. 120 out a day and work my way up from, because I feel that in my heart. And then this is what God, I was sharing the story like I'm sharing it with you. And God put this in my mind was, you're good at tithing. You're good at doing with the 10%, but now I want you to be generous. So when you have money, when you're wealthy, it allows you to be generous financially. And that's more impactful than just saying, hey, I'm praying for you. Because now there's something tangible that you've just impacted their lives. That's what success is, brother, is living in an area of generosity where you can bless whoever you want, when you want, and there's no limitations because you have the financial means to do it instead of struggling and not being able to do it.
Yeah, you definitely challenged my mindset towards that because as like I said, like I believe that, but I guess that's not what I say. So I definitely need to work on what I say as opposed to maybe, I don't know. I I think my biggest problem with that whole thing is this world is so tied to money. Obviously, because money drives everything, but the kids are taught, I was taught, you know, money, 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 right? Forget everything else. Forget who you step on. Just go get your money. And that's the mindset I disagree with, right? Like, sure, if I make money, that's great, that's awesome. I want it to be the right way. I want it to be because I'm useful, I'm helpful, I'm impactful. I don't, So I mean, I think I don't hate money. I don't hate wealth. I'm definitely not a poverty mindset
Yeah.
type of person. I just don't want to tie myself to money. So yeah, I definitely have to think about that. Thank you for challenging me. I love being challenged. So I mean, that's how we grow, right?
Well, that's the
And
stuff that we don't see. So think about this. They just finished building the biggest high rise in Dubai, tallest skyscraper in the world. To do that, the building in Dubai has the largest foundation ever built for any building, high rise, depth wise, goes deeper than anyone. Why? Because in life and business, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to go higher, you must go deeper. You must go deeper and build the right foundation. And most of us as human beings, if you remember what I said a little while ago, ladies and gentlemen, we don't deal with the guilt, we don't deal with the shame, and we don't challenge. It's not the beliefs that we have at the surface level. What are your deep down core beliefs, your belief system that you have to challenge and push through to continue to build higher? And that's another reason why people self-sabotage, because they never deal, right? They keep building up, 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 up. It seems like they have that high rise in Dubai, but they don't have the foundation of it, and they collapse because they never challenge themselves to go deeper. So when someone says something along the line of what you mentioned, we speak our true heart. We speak what's deep down inside of us. Just most of us, we're not aware of what it is because we've never allowed ourselves to go that deep, because you know what? Sometimes it sucks. It hurts. I can tell you, man, I never forget one day I was coming down the stairs and that was like our first year and a half in business. We've been in business going on 6 years. And I was just crying, frustrated. Thought about just forget this, right? I'm struggling over here to make $1. I could go back to the automotive and make $250,000. Why am I killing myself? I beat up a recycle bin, kick the heck out of it. But that was going deeper, getting rid of that deep junk that was deep inside of Daniel. And most people ain't willing to face that, because that's where
And
the issue is.
I think the other thing, I think you've already mentioned it, is the quit. It's so easy just to quit, right? And for me, like that's the mindset right there. That's the winning mindset for me. That's led me to all the success I've had in my life. Is I even when I should quit, I won't, which isn't something to brag about because usually that's detrimental. But I've developed such a I can never quit mentality. It doesn't matter how bad it hurts. It doesn't matter what I have to sacrifice within myself. Like I cannot quit. I broke bones during training, and I still finished, and I still got selected to do the job that I was trying out to do. Uh, I've I've been mortally wounded and still found a way to fight. Like there's just something about today's mindset of this is hard. I don't I can't do it. And my favorite example is, when you look at a BMX biker, um, we see the flips and the tricks and the stick and the landing and how amazing that is. Because I don't know about you, I could never do that.
Yeah, no.
But we don't see the 5, 6, 7, 8 years of that same person landing on their face. We don't see all the blood, all the broken bones, all the skin that has been lost to excel at this one thing. And so, that's the definition of never quitting, right? And it breaks my heart when I see somebody with all the potential and all the skill and all the knowledge, and just they have the characteristics to really go crush whatever it is they want, but they quit because they give up on themselves because it gets a little bit hard. And
You know why?
you know,
They're not willing to pay the price. The truth is this: everything we're talking about, I can sum it up is we can have anything in the world that we want as long as we're willing to pay the price for it. And most people ain't willing to pay the price for it. It costs too much. It costs too many flips landing on your face. It costs too much investment financially, or they convince themselves that they're not good enough. It costs. It's a cost. Everything has a cost. We can have anything. You and I, your audience right now, I want you to hear this, ladies and gentlemen. You can do anything in the world you want to do. You can have anything you want if you're willing to pay the price. The sad part is most people ain't willing to pay the price because they're stuck in contentment. They're stuck in being average. And then they really get a little bit uncomfortable. Right? People say, get out of your comfort zone. That's jaded already. I mean, everybody and their grandma talks about that. What does that really mean? It means you're going to cry. It means you're going to beat up a recycle bin. It means it's going to challenge you that to where you're going to be pissed off some days. Like it's not pretty sometimes. And people don't talk about that. Comfort. Okay, well, what is getting out of your comfort zone? What does that mean? Like people say, like it's everyday conversation. No, it's going to cost you some tears. It's going to cost you some friendships. It's going to cost you outgrowing people. And can you leave that old identity of who you are? That's what it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you turning your back on your old life.
I
That's
love
what it's going
that.
to cost you.
There's a speaker I'm sure you've heard of. Her name is Priscilla Schreier. You know, have you ever heard of her? You've never heard of
No.
Priscilla Schreier? You've got to go look at her up. But she talks about that. She talks about um, the hardest thing she's ever done in her life is leave the person that she was behind to get to the person she needs to be. And that's so true because I've not been in business yet for myself for I'll be a year in September 1st. My doors will have been opened for a year, and it's been
Congratulations,
hard.
man.
Thanks, man. I'm so excited, and it's been hard though. It's been painful. I've said I was going to quit probably 60, 70 times, but it's every day is I think the biggest help for me is having the mindset that every day I get a little bit smarter, every day I get a little bit better. Bro, go back and listen to my first podcast. You want to talk about crap? It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I actually took it.
In your defense, I think we can all say that.
So, well, yeah, but I mean, like, you don't think about that though, right? Like, you listen to Joe
Yeah.
Rogan, and he's just this amazing podcaster. Like, you listen to all these other amazing podcasters, and they're just amazing. But you don't think about the fact Joe Rogan's been doing stand up comedy and public speaking for like 30 years, right? Like, of course he's going to be good at it, right? He's built up that skill. I have not. So, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, and so I went down and took those podcasts down because it's just so embarrassing. And it's like, you know what? No, I'm going to leave them up there so that when people hear how I was and then hear how I am today, and then 2 years from now, hear how I am then, they're going to be like, oh, that's how it works. You get a little bit better, you get a little bit smarter, you get a little bit more skill each and every single day that you beat on your craft. The only thing that separates me from all the other podcasters is I didn't quit because it was hard, because I was struggling to find guests. Now I have guests lined up. I have podcasts all the way out to January 2024, right? Like, I, it's insane. This is new. Like, it didn't start this way. So, I mean, just don't quit, Daniel. Just never, ever, ever give up on yourself. And I think that that's really the most destructive mindset in our culture today is it hurts. So I quit.
If we think about a mother that's giving birth to a child, there's no new birth without pain.
Right. That's a great analogy,
People
actually.
want to know, like I always challenge everybody, right? Because the characteristics of God, his laws, his principles are all around us. We don't pay attention because we're naive. But when you really tune into life itself, any new birth is going to have labor pains. How do I know that? Because every single mom that has a child is going to have labor pains. Even if she's put under, even if she has a C-section. Well, yeah, no, she's going to feel pain when she wakes up because it's just a different pain than a natural birth,
Right.
but she will feel pain. So remember that, ladies and gentlemen, there's no new birth. Nothing is birthed new without any labor pains. So don't cry when it's happening. Embrace it and ask yourself, what's the lesson that I need to learn behind this? That's what true leadership is. And that's one thing that we help our speakers do. When you come to our Sticker Shock Speaking Academy, September 8th and 9th, so many speakers make the mistake that they just want to be a speaker. Well, that's you're already lost. You're not going to make it. You know why you're not going to make it? Because you have to have the mindset of, no, I'm not just a speaker. I'm building a speaking business. And when I started really taking off and we trained the United States Air Force and I was leading myself as like this, I need to build a speaking business, not just be a speaker. And people said, Daniel, how did you make 6 figures your first year? It's like business. I'm thinking business. I'm not thinking just speaking. And we exploded from there. And then the following year in 2019, we doubled again. We grew. And we didn't double in 2019. We grew tremendously. And then when COVID happened, COVID was the best thing that ever happened to me and my business. We doubled in 2020 because we took action. We led ourselves, and Sticker Shock was we had people come in from, right? Because if you think about March, people thought COVID was going to happen for a month, maybe 6 weeks, 2 months. Well, we had it right March to July. People were tired of being home. Texas was the only state that was really open. San Antonio was wide open. We had people flying from all over the country during COVID 2020 because they wanted to get out of their home. They wanted to get away from their husbands. They wanted to get away from their wives. They were locked up. And I'm like, man, it just blew up. And I didn't know if it was going to be a one-time event or what we were going to do, but we never looked back. And now we show speakers how to lead themselves in building a speaking business. We train a lot of Toastmasters, because right, they don't know how to be they don't know how to become a paid speaker. And I thought everybody was doing it, Stephen. I thought everybody was getting paid to speak. And no, no, God said, show them, because they don't think in business. They think, I just want to be a speaker. Okay, well, great. You can go speak outside talk to yourself. You're a speaker now. No, but right. And I say that because when you really shift your mindset, not just in becoming a speaker, but in every aspect of your life, it's a different approach to get a different result. And most people, they come in and wanting to become a speaker, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and they think it's going to be the same approach they've always done. And it doesn't work that way. You got to approach and you got to lead yourself in a different way. Because if you don't, you're going to be out of business within 5 years. Stats show it. I mean, I've seen it. So when you come to Sticker Shock, we teach you how to build a speaking business. And where, like, a great example is Tony Pollard came from September to September. He earned over $70,000. He goes, man, how did I do that? As a side hustle, he was a full-time administrator and he still did 70 plus K. He goes, Daniel, I learned more here than I did anywhere else. I said, man, it's not me. It's just the wisdom that God gives me of how to help y'all and teach y'all. It's one thing when right, as a leader, you do it yourself. Well, yeah, it's good. But when the people that come and you show them and you guide them and you train them and you coach them, when they do it, man, it's priceless. So when you come to Sticker Shock, it's more than a speaking academy. It's an experience that's going to change your heart, your mind, and shift the way you see yourself. And because the people need it, man. People like this podcast, people, I guarantee you, Stephen, this podcast is going to help so many people. And what if you never started your podcast?
Right. Absolutely. And that's why I do it, because I want to help as many people as I possibly can. And this is a cheap, easy a way to reach people. And
Yeah.
you know, that's why I bring on guests like you that have been in the trenches. They know what it's like to cry because your business is just not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And you're not seeing that success. And it's hard and it's painful. And I want people to have the encouragement, like you said, figure out what your passion is. And so one of the things you said is if you want it, then if you just work hard enough, you can get it. I disagree with that mindset a little bit. For me, it's whatever your passion is. If you are passionate about something and then you cultivate the discipline to do it and not quit and truly want it, that's when you'll see success. I could never be a professional football player. I would love to be a professional football player, but I don't have the passion it takes to go throw a football for 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. I just don't have it. Now I have the passion to go sit on a range for 2 days straight and just shoot thousands of rounds of ammunition. That's a passion I have, right? So that's the difference for me is if you're passionate about it and then you work at it, that's when you'll see success. And I think that's a big problem is people are, oh yeah, I want to be a social media influencer because they make millions. Yeah. Right. But it's also a lot of work, massive amount of work. And is your passion there to drive through because that's what sustains me through all the hard times. I am truly passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about this podcast. I'm passionate about my public speaking. I'm passionate about my leadership coaching and mentoring. Like this is what my passion is. This is me. Yeah. And so that's why I know maybe I'm not seeing my success now, but I am going to make my money. I am going to influence my people. I am going to get success because I'm so passionate about it. I'm not going to quit. I don't care. And so life has no choice but I'm going to force life to give it to me. And the only way, unless God says no and I die, like that's the only way I won't see success. So I want to, we got to wrap it up because we're hard out on time. But before we go, you talked about September 8th and 9th is your next Sticker Shock Academy, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's going to be September 8th and 9th here in San Antonio, Texas.
And how can people get tickets to this event?
It's on Eventbrite. And then also too, what I'll do for people that are listening to this amazing podcast, they can send me an email directly and we'll give them a partial scholarship at Daniel@DanielGomezSpeaker.com. That's Daniel@DanielGomezSpeaker.com, or you can call me directly at 210-663-5954. That's 210-663-5954. And I just love pouring into people and letting them know so they can come. They're going to get, when you come to Sticker Shock, we're going to really give you the roadmap from the beginning to the end of how to build the blueprint of a successful paid speaking business. You're going to leave with a professional speaker reel because you're going to speak on an epic stage. And after the workshop part of it, that's when all the speakers, the attendees are going to come. They're going to speak. We give you a video testimonial of you for you to put on your website, optics on the red carpet, optics on the stage. So we give you all the tangibles when you come to Sticker Shock to really build your successful speaking business. And we love to have you, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, if you're an aspiring speaker or just somebody that wants to level up, like Tony Pollard, he was doing a couple of thousand every 3 or 4 months. Now he's making over 70,000 as a part-time administrator. We can show you the way to do it. And it's phenomenal. So Sticker Shock is really helping a lot of people, man. And it's beautiful because you build a community with other speakers and other podcasters it's amazing. It's beautiful. And they'll be here in San Antonio. So I'd love to hear from anybody that needs to come and elevate their game. I would love to help you with that.
Well, that is awesome. And I appreciate that discount. That is super incredible. And of course, I will have all the links and all the descriptions, or all the links and all the information for you to get that discount in the show notes. Just make sure you heard it here on Renowned Leadership. And also talk about your books for a second. How can they get a hold of your books?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we just released The Millionaire Mind. It's on Audible. So if you want the Audible version, go to Audible, get your copy. Or you can go to Amazon. They have the link there for Audible too, the makings of a millionairemind.com. You can get an autographed copy from us. So I'll be more than glad to sign it. If you're in the United States, I'll autograph a copy and send it to you. And our book is amazing. It's really helped. We've sold thousands already, and it's helped many, many people. And really, the Audible is definitely amazing because you can work out to it and listen to it. So we have our other book too, You Were Born to Fly, on Amazon, and you can get a copy there on Amazon. And it's on self-leadership, self-development, and really helping you just get the foundation of your life going in the right direction. And if you can follow me on social media, Daniel Gomez Inspires. That's Daniel Gomez Inspires, like you see behind me on our podcast. And we'd love for you to just drop a note, say, hey, thank you for adding value. So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me, Stephen. And man, thank you for having me on your show. I really, really enjoyed it, brother. You're just a great host, and what a phenomenal time. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, brother. We're definitely going to have you back. Maybe after your Sticker Shock Academy happens, and you can tell us how it went and give us some lessons that you learned during. Because I'm sure every time you teach this, I'm sure you learn something new, either about yourself, about the game, about the process. Like, and that's what really makes us truly the leaders we are, is we never ever stop learning. So Daniel, the guest on my show always has the amazing opportunity to get the final word of wisdom. So my final question to you, sir, is how, or what advice do you give people on how they can lead like champions?
If God can take mold, stinky old mold that stinks, smells, and turn it into penicillin that heals the body, what can he not do in your life if you allow him and give him a space and a place to really become the champion you were born to be?
Awesome. I love it. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Daniel. He is Daniel Gomez, the business coach, epic speaker, epic storyteller. And again, thank you so much for joining me today, sir. I really appreciate the value you brought to my audience.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, everybody.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap up this week's podcast, the Renowned Leadership Podcast. Thank you so much. Make sure you go hit up all his websites and follow him on all the socials. All the links are in the bios and the descriptions. And then after you're done, head over to renownedleadership.com. Give me some love as well. Make sure you follow, subscribe, like, and comment. I appreciate all you guys do for me. And of course, never forget, lead like a champion. See y'all next week. Bye.
I try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. got a hold of me. When I'm awake, I'm all blind.
Okay, everybody, that's going to wrap up this week's episode. I know you guys loved listening to Daniel Gomez. Make sure you go check all his stuff out, and make sure you go check out his event for Sticker Shock that's coming up next month. Go check that out if you can get there. I know it's going to be valuable. Just want to remind you real quick before we bounce, head over to renownedleadership.com. Click the book a call with a coach button in the top right hand corner of the screen, and you get to come talk to me personally, one-on-one, absolutely free. And you get to check out the new Renowned system and see all that it has to offer, see what all Renowned has to offer you. So go ahead and do that. You don't need a credit card, you don't need nothing. Just book the calls, pick a time, and I'll be there with bells, and we'll have a great time, have a great conversation. Also, make sure you just keep an eye on the website. We're like I said in the beginning, we're going through massive changes right now. We will be going through massive changes for the rest of the year, and just keep an eye on the website to keep updated. You can also subscribe to the Renowned newsletter and get your updates that way as well. Go ahead and do that while you're at renownedleadership.com. I will see y'all next week, and in the meantime, never forget, lead like a champion. Goodbye, everybody.